I'm Dhara Jain and I work as a production designer for films and TV series. Let's begin with what is that I exactly do, for it's absolutely essential to get to know how I do it. I often just tell people that I'm a glorified carpenter. Well, because I find it really difficult to explain anyone what I do. Is it architecture, interiors, styling, stage sets, art and crafts, study of eras and periods? Friends and family call me all the time to ask what furniture will suit their house or what fabric they should buy. And then if I know where to get trendy gifts and then all of this and that at a discount. Well, to be fair, it definitely is a part of what I do and I can get you discounts. But my job is just a little bit broader than all of it. And saying it loud, and saying out loud, we, the production design team, are rightly jack of all trades and masters in putting together the various trades in hand. There are no boundaries, but realization of visions for a story to be told and seen. Now, what we do and how we do it is various chapters to a book altogether. I find it easier to explain what we are responsible of and for. The production design team stage spaces by manufacturing a set or adapting to a location. We create settings for the actors to rightly fit into their characters and in which the audience can emotionally invest. This can be thunderstorms or silent waters, war zones or kingdoms, futuristic fictions or comic book situations, habitats of man or animal, theories of a club or notorities of a cartel. We speak through objects, textures, forms, colors and tone, creating moods where we don't want you to just see space, but instead hear, smell, taste, and feel it, experience the story. In fact, in films and spaces of imagination, interiors and buildings become settings which have a psychological meaning. They are to act as metaphors for a storyline, which also means that we are supposed to be creating personalities through spaces. A good setting is almost symbolic. Props, on the other hand, can be treated as symbols of storytelling, symbols of childhood or adultery, love or death, misery or mystery, reality or fiction, tension or relaxation. They are to tell without telling. Some props have defined a film altogether, where you can't think of Inception without thinking of the moving totem to comfort and confront your own reality. And most important, we create a world whose settings are completely illusionary, unapologetically man-made and staged. Every facet is designed to suit a scene for the actors and the story, and to tell a story envisioned by the director, shot cinematically. So together, along with the director and cinematographer, a production designer marries a film's screenplay to a manufactured set or adapted location, bringing a vision to life. This really actually holds for anything and everything you see on screen, big and small, important or frivolous. All decisions. Should it be a takeaway glass or an espresso shot? Would he be smoking or is it rolling? How to scale down the setups from a giant's point of view and then scale up from a minion's point of view? How big of an explosion is it needed to rightly dramatize? Dream world or hallucinated visions, handwritten or printed type? What will be naturally surprising for an alien in a human world? How to characterize this new world? To what extent should the settings be lived in or aged down to keep the overall visual mood of the film intact? We are responsible for what comfortably should blend in and not shout out, overshadow, or take away from the narrative. Just about the right ingredients for the perfect recipe. The whole process needs all the departments to come together and understand something, which is the position, movement, and technical possibilities of a camera, the composition and design of a set, the placement of props and the actors, and then their relation to each other in a setting. Now, every character is a different story to tell, and every situation can be treated in a specific way. So every space has a chance to have its own unique interaction. And that is the challenge. We are not here to sell a product particularly, but to make you believe in a story. I don't think in my many years of being in the art department, there has been any living room or garage or office or even a deserted defunct site that has had the same look. The greed is to make spaces look different from another. But how does one do that? Honestly, I don't look at anything like you do. I can scan a person or a space in seconds. Beware. Having said that, the point is if you can see the nuances of what a space or its characters have to offer, you can automatically give a space a unique identity, overriding preset visions, and then help in visually defining every scene in a different manner. So to my eyes, it's not just a house or a garage or a dilapidated hangout site. It's subdivided into various layers with detailed character sketches and daily routines followed by the protagonist. It's Ashok and Sulochna's and son Pranav Dubey's middle-class house in suburban Bombay. Ashok working in a garment factory who brings work home, and Sulu, the housemaker who enjoys participating in every contest that comes her way. Her ambitions to take over the afternoon nap, her work schedule bringing changes in their daily routines and lifestyle, a house in order to be a house, to be a neglected one, or a defunct mill as a hangout for rap battles. Kids making use of an abandoned office as their own dugout, the office being an accounting and operations firm from the 1970s. So rightly, one's man junk becomes the other's treasure. An empty location treated with period charm, retaining its character, yet mobbed with the styles of its new callers. What, why, how, when? Ask questions. Not everything is written down in the script. Many a times, the art department makes further backstories of people and spaces. Discuss with the director in detail and give more definition to the whole design process. There is a difference between how a prostitute lives and how a prostitute with a child lives. The house of a rich, notorious gangster and the house of a rich businessman turned politician. A poor who lives under the bridge or the one who lives on the footpath. I mean, a perceived rich and a poor or a prostitute is what a rich or a poor or a prostitute is, right? But look at each of these from my eyes, and I can now tell you how differences in lifestyle and eating habits and sleeping hours can create differences in their spaces. It's the trained observation and character questioning that helps the entire team detail and be able to treat every character and hence every space in a newer manner. We blend in or break the norms of sets and spaces, yet sticking to reality, or we give absolutely new identities to the magic and mystic worlds. But of course, not as simple as it sounds. It takes days and hours to create a whole look and mood board. Locations are scouted, and then decisions are made whether to adapt to a location or to build a set. And then accordingly, settings are designed to fit. An effective designer is one who can balance the creative and practical aspects of a job, be an artist and a manager at the same time. In fact, it's 75% logistical planning over design. The art department has a significant crew strength, and maybe one of the largest ones. And then there are departments within the art department. There's an art director and his team of drafting, construction, painting, and executing supervisors, set decorator, and her team of dressers, buyers, sourcers, prop makers, runners. Sometimes various art directors and set decorators working on separate sets. Visual and concept artists, graphic designers, aging experts, sculptors, weaponry artists, mechanics. And then there are collaborations with many professionals, specialists, historians, and services, etc. I cannot but just love it. Collaborating with eyes from various fields, regions, and religions all the time. And no matter how many sets or shoots you've been a part of, how many same spaces you've been, it is a new process every single time. it is looking at everything from fresh new eyes. So what is the trick? Look and look beyond. Absorb and absorb. I say, look at it from your eyes. Put yourself in that shoe. What would you do if in the same situation, and what would you have around you? As a simple example, whenever I have to dress a desk, say a principal, government official, student, I would sit in the chair and then move everything around me according to reach and accessibility. More needed to lesser used. That's pretty basic. But in this process, one has to make sure that the source of light, which is the table lamp, shouldn't block me or the person sitting in front of me. It shouldn't come over my head either, and also be positioned in such a way that it's the only light source or the key light source for the principle of photography. The phone, desktop, notes, everything be placed together in ways where your actor can activate both movement and accessibility, along with a dialogue to deliver. Look at it from the eyes of the character. Research the style, behavior, patterns in routine and lifestyle of the intended person or people, and then also know about the social, economical, and political situation of the time. I find it most difficult to dress a lower middle class house, and even more difficult to explain why the house will have a packed kitchen and everything and anything needed for, say, the first serve the family, then the immediate family, and then the guests, or a double door fridge, or a flat screen TV. There are always arguments on affordability and priorities, but it is what it is. Go down the rural and small town houses, a kitchen will always be a packed one. After all, utensils have been the first gifts of the bride and groom. On the other hand, criminal households and workspaces get me going to another tangent. It's very difficult to put yourself in that shoe. But then you do so by research and references and build on. I've never repaired a car in my life, let alone change a tire, but made garage sets from various eras. I ought to ask a mechanic or a skilled set of eyes their tricks of trade. It's important to conduct interviews and visit actual sites, call the real guys over for set visits, and then incorporate. Also, when I say take opinions, it doesn't mean that you get insecure of your own research and thought process. Knowing more is no harm. And at this point, one also understands what to take and what to leave. In fact, recognizing what not to do helps you make the decision better. Look at it from what you want the audience to recognize. I mentioned this earlier. We don't want you to just see space, but instead feel the setting, resonate with, and then get engaged in the story. There are times when we have collaborations with directors with very strong and visual sense, and they know what exactly they want to express to the audience. Other times they are more driven by character performances and written narrative. Nonetheless, the primary questions remain the same. What vibes should the settings give? What is the intended mood? And what is the intended mood, and what really do you want the atmosphere to say? What do you want to say to the audience? In the film Gully Boy, director Zoya Akhtar and production designer Suzanne Mehrwanji were only seeing the city from Murad's eyes and the worlds he inhabits, which is one, the slums where he lives, hang out with friends, and moments with girlfriend Safina; the underground hip-hop scene where he gradually realizes his ambitions; and three, the world outside which he's unfamiliar with, a world of glamour, money, and abundance. The spaces had to emote as much as the characters in the film. There was claustrophobia, struggle, distrust, betrayal, violence, power, privilege, along with love, passion, strength, loyalty, hope, happiness, ambition, and freedom. And hence, there was a very conscious use of a color palette, choosing socialistic modern architecture, use of caging and boxing of spaces, and control of light and sky according to the subliminal messages and emotions the settings had to emote. On Tumhari Sullu, director Suresh Triveni wanted Sullu's world to have goodness in reality and reflect honesty in struggles. That was the only brief. Everyday life objects had to speak about the simplicity of life. A hisab diary, a water bottle, grocery bag, tiffin dabba, mosquito repellent. Everyday life objects, right? Obvious, simply daily life objects, but objects that connected you and I. A film set, in order to be a good set, must act, whether realistic or expressionist, modern or ancient. It must play its part, and that's all it needs to be doing. So there is this last point I consciously have been trying to incorporate in the settings and the work I do. Not put my personal greed and taste over and above what the narrative demands. Earlier, I wanted everything to show on screen, especially source props or the scale of the sets, and get quite agitated that it's not seen or be blurred in the background. Everybody asks me, what do you really do? Well, I've grown wiser. I understand my role better. I don't really want you to see my work. I want you to be invested in the story we all want to tell. If your eyes didn't go to the set behind, my job was very well done then. We did manage to blend in the character's reality to the staged fake world. The setup played its part being background, supporting its actor, and its role was to be background support only. And when the settings had to play its part, it became the only hero. Everything else acting as background, foreground. There is no other play. So reality in the real life and reality in real life is, no matter how big or small a project is, there is never enough budgets and there is never enough time. But realizing one's dream is the real test of human beings. Reconsider your visions. Be honest about what exactly you can deliver and achieve. Plan out a schedule and remember, it's not just your story to tell. It's a collective effort. It's theirs as much as yours. Thank you.